Hi guys, it's been a few weeks since I've made a video, mainly because I only really have the chance to do them on my days off, and my days off recently have been pretty busy. But anyway, I've picked up a few things. I was kind of waiting for something else to arrive before I made it, but it doesn't seem to be showing up, so I thought I'd just do it, otherwise it's going to be at least another week or so until I make another one. So I've picked up a few things. This video is mainly going to be a few new things that I've picked up, plus some stuff that I've been listening to. I suddenly got the urge to listen to in the last few weeks. So the first thing I've picked up is this, which is the new reissue of the Zombies' first album. This has come out on Repertoire there, and is there we go, half-speed mastering at Abbey Road on 180 gram vinyl. This sounds pretty good. They've also done Odyssey and Oracle, which is the thing that I'm waiting for. I've had another version of this in the past, and actually I haven't listened to them both back to back, so I haven't compared them, but this certainly sounded very good, and it's a fantastic album. And I've never had any version of Odyssey and Oracle yet. I've got about 3 different versions on CD, but I've never picked up any of the reissues on vinyl. And then when I saw these were coming, I thought it would be a good chance to get them both, but obviously I've ended up getting the one that I already had, and the one that I was actually really want to get hasn't turned up yet. Apparently they were originally going to do Odyssey and Oracle mono and a stereo version, but it appears now that it's maybe just the stereo one that's come out, which is a shame because they're quite different. So that's pretty good. I was pleased to get that. This next album's taken me at least a year to get, if not longer. Is Beach Boys' Surfer Girl. Now, if anyone remembers, a few years ago I finally managed to get hold of my last, I'd collected all the Beach Boys 7-inches, and I managed to get them all the stuff they released on Capitol anyway, all their 7-inches and EPs, and then I decided I'd go start collecting the albums, but obviously to slow me down, so I didn't just go out and buy and buy and buy. I've decided to buy them in order, and set myself a budget for each one. And this one, I'm trying to get the mono ones first as well. Go for the mono. I don't know how many times I've bid on this on eBay, but every time I must have bid on at least 20 copies of it, if not more. You know, pretty much every month a copy came on and I'd bid on it and get outbid. So finally, after over a year's worth of trying, I finally picked up a decent copy of Surfer Girl. I set myself a budget, just like I said, just to stop me going out and buying far too many. And this is on the original Capitol Rainbow Rim. This comes from the Beach Boys period where they released about, I can't remember what it is, 9 or 10 albums in three years, was it? In between their debut Surfing Safari coming out and Pet Sounds. I think Surfing Safari came out in 62, maybe, was it 63? And Pet Sounds came out in 66. I think the over 63, 64 and 65, I think they released something like nine albums. So this is from that period. So obviously the standard is not maintained to a high level throughout it. There is some kind of filler on here, but I'm really pleased to have that. Another thing I picked up just kind of for the fun of it, it was this, which is Basie's Beetle Bag. This is just a music for pleasure cheapo thing, but it was quite interesting to listen to his versions of Beatles tracks, and I quite like the cover as well. And sometimes those Beatles cover albums, you find some really kind of interesting stuff. Picked up this album by Endel St Cloud, called Thank You All Very Much. This is a good album actually. It's one that I had been on the lookout for a while. It's another one of the international artists' releases, and again this is on Decal, which I've mentioned before is a label I like to collect. The most misleading thing about all of this is here it says file under folk and country, and you know, when I saw that when I got it I thought maybe this isn't going to be that good, but it's if you're familiar with any of the other international artist stuff, it's has the feeling of the Bubble Puppy, somewhere between Bubble Puppy and the Grateful Dead. It's got that's about how country is, so it's not really, you know, Hank Snow country. You know, it's that kind of more Americana, but not even really Americana. That's not fair. But this is good, and the tracks seem to be interspersed with what sounds like a you know, one of those street kind of preachers, lording over everyone. But it's a good mixture of, like I said, kind of the Bubble Puppy, Grateful Dead, with some gospel-y, bluesy bits thrown in there for good measure. But yeah, I was really pleased to get that. It didn't cost me too much. And the other things are really just things that I've picked up and been listening to recently. This one I picked this up locally off a guy that was selling it really cheap, because I really like his first album, and I was looking for a Plum label copy of that, but obviously searching for the album called Yes and the Yes album is quite tricky, and so anyway I saw this and it was a complete fluke that this cropped up, and it was a local guy that was selling it, so I got it really cheap. I didn't have to pay postage, I just went and picked it up from his house, so I was really pleased to get hold of that. And this is actually really good. I wasn't sure. I sometimes struggle with John Anderson's voice, and that's my biggest downfall with Yes. But recently, when I've been listening to Yes, it's not been as offensive as I've found it in the past. The reason I bought this is because I'd been digging through my stack of stuff to listen to, and I found this album, and I really enjoyed this. I thought I would hate this just by the cover of it, because it's got that kind of very 80s looking, even though it came, I think it was the late 70s that it came out. It's got a very kind of 80s look about it, and I thought this was just going to be terrible. But I really enjoyed it, so on the back of it I went out and bought this one. Again, I think it was